Okay, karma, meaning intention or action. So maybe we go through this list, and then all the questions that you need to ask, you should be able to answer them yourself, knowing all these features. So karma is definite, meaning destructive karma results in suffering, and constructive karma results in happiness. Now, be careful, because then we think, okay, it's kind of, very fixed, and this is it. A ripening of a destructive action results in something that you would not choose. But what then makes the suffering, real suffering, is your reaction to it. Do you see what I mean? So the result that comes is not necessarily what we would choose, but we can still have a good reaction towards it. So it's not like 2 and 2 is 4. It's not like that. Every negative action that you do will result in suffering. It will result in something unwanted, unlooked for, but it's not necessarily then that you go into deep suffering if you are aware and if you use it in the right way. Like me with my weeds. So these weeds, I don't want them, I don't choose them, but what happens if I start recognizing them, I take them out, and I become better at recognizing the plants that I don't want. Somebody who harms you, they bring up your negative sides. So you start recognizing them. As if nobody harms you. If everybody is very nice to you and very kind to you. And when you feel like moments, oh, now I want to be left alone, so please keep away from me. Immediately they sense it. Because usually we don't say it, but we expect them to notice it, okay? So they sense it, they leave me alone. The moment I have a yearning for them to come again and be good company, they sense it, and then they come. Yeah. Imagine if everybody would be like this. How can we grow? We would have no negative emotions coming up because all our wishes are fulfilled. You would most probably fall into depression because that is very boring if nothing is going on. Because that kind of happiness from outside conditions, that results in depression, by the way, if there's no challenge going on. So this is why so many people in Switzerland are depressed. There's no challenge. Yeah. But depression can also come from being totally exhausted, by the way. So if you feel that this depression is coming, go sleep as much as you can. Go rest. Yeah. But in Switzerland it's not exhaustion. In Switzerland it's boredom. There's a term of burnout and there's a term of bore-out. And both of them result in depression. You're not challenged. Yeah. Because the mind likes to be challenged. The mind likes to be active. So we're not making the mind inactive in your spiritual practice, you make it calm and spacious in order to be more skillfully active instead of being so fragmented. This is the goal. Yeah? It's not that you like Buddha sit in peace and you're not doing anything. That you can, I'm sure there's medicine for that. That totally kills all the emotions. So if you want that, then Buddhism is not the right way. Buddhism makes you very awake, very sharp, but calm. It's a combination of relaxed and awake. Either we're relaxed and then we're kind of half asleep, or we're awake and we're totally tense. And then we have too much energy. Yeah? So like that. So destructive karma results in suffering, meaning weeds will come up. Like, results will come that we know we wouldn't choose them, but if you are aware of it, then it can be of help for your practice. You can develop compassion and patience. Constructive karma results in happiness, things that we usually seek. So then when positive karma imprint is ripening, we don't have to seek it. So sensations, feelings, we said there are 3 kinds. You remember?
Negative and neutral.
Pleasant,
Unpleasant.
unpleasant, neutral. Like I have a very neutral feeling at the moment of having my feet on the cushion here, down here. This is neither pleasant nor unpleasant. That would be neutral.
Is this equanimous? Equanimous mind?
I will go through the list first, and then
Okay.
we kind of we go into these things. Okay, so karma. There's 4 features that go with karma. Maybe again to go with the word karma. Karma means action with a certain intention, which creates a karmic seed. That is missing here. This is next time. The next one I add this also. Which creates a karmic seed, which then creates a karmic result. So when people say they have headache or something, they go like, oh, it's my karma. No, it is not your karma. It's a karmic result of a past action. So these feelings of 3 kinds, pleasant, unpleasant and neutral, they are ripening of karmic results. It's not the ice cream or the chocolate cake that gives you a pleasant feeling. It looks like that, but it's not. So if you have a pleasant experience from consuming something or seeing something or hearing something, it is because you have positive karmic imprints ripening. So when you run from one pleasure to the other, you exhaust all these positive imprints to have pleasant sensations. For what? For nothing, because this ice cream, once it's eaten, it cannot give you anything except the fat on your hips or on your belly for men. Yeah, that's it. And diabetes maybe in the future. Yeah. So we are using these positive imprints for very silly things, running after pleasures. Now if a pleasure comes along, take it, because it's ripening of karma.
We have to do it, don't we? I mean,
You can't do otherwise. It's the same way as the seeds coming in the gut. But don't go looking for them. This is what I mean. And instead of it exhausting, create new ones on top of that one. So you start licking the ice cream and you go, wow, this is really good. May all beings enjoy such a pleasant feeling, for example.
Or you can give it to somebody.
Oh, well, if you started licking it, I'm not so sure if they would want it. Yeah. Or you can go and, they give you to try. Yeah, also. And so you can see, this one is good, and you see somebody passing by, you can say, oh, I just tried this ice cream. It's really good. Can I offer you one? We had, at one point before Christmas, we had young people who had inherited a lot of money. So they were in the supermarkets buying things and distributing them, because they said, we have inherited all this money, so we want to do something with it. Or somebody comes to the group in Switzerland, she had somebody like this in front of her, and it was Christmas. She was buying things for like 200 francs, and he turned around, he said, can I pay this bill for you? And she said, right. And he explained, he said, yeah, I have all this money, I would like other people to benefit from it.
That's nice.
Amazing. Yeah. So like this, so this is how you can increase your stock of positive seeds. Let's call them seeds. Maybe that is more makes more sense. And if it's an unpleasant feeling, it's a negative seed ripening. So instead of trying to avoid and going angry about somebody having created that unpleasant feeling in you, you can go and say, well, thank you. Good thing, that seed is finished, so I'm not creating new karma by being averse and being angry. So this is how you train to react to things, instead of being, having a lot of pain. If you have pain, you have it. What can you do? You can be either depressed about it or just accept it. Accepting it doesn't make it go away, but at least it doesn't make it worse. So it's just body pain, and then the mind is relaxed by thinking, wow, this could have been a rebirth in a hell. If you think that spontaneously, if you need your intellect to think about this, then it doesn't really change the state of your mind. You're still not so happy about this. But in Kopan, I think in my second course, after Guru Puja, I helped cleaning up, and then I was very agile. I used to climb mountains and all this. So I jumped the stairs, you know, zack, zack, zack. And then I fell, and I hurt in my foot, I heard, and a lot of pain, and, you know, stars in front of your eyes, and I thought, oops. And then I went like, wow, because we just treated karma. And I thought, this could have been a rebirth in a hell, and I was so happy. The pain was really intense, but the mind was totally happy. It doesn't mean I didn't do anything about this. I still tried to, you know, went to the doctor. He said, yeah, we have to put a cast. It was like a bone here, small bone, so it's still kind of sticking out. So he said, we'll have to put a cast from your toes up to here. And in Nepal, I said, no. But he said, it can also heal by itself. There will be a little bit distorted. There might be arthritis around it afterwards, but shouldn't be a big problem. You will just have a lot of pain until it's healed. So I chose the second option. Because I thought, a cast until here, you know, in Copan with all the stairs and going up and down, I thought, no way. So this is what I mean. When we start to understand this law of cause and effect, immediately it gets us out of the victim role. And then instead of kind of going, oh, what should I do now? And this is terrible. And yeah, we really look like, with a calm mind, okay, what can I do now? The first thing is not to create more negative karma. By seeing when we start to get angry about negative situations, that is understanding the seedling that is coming up there. This one I don't want. And it's still small, so you pull it out before it makes more seeds. Yeah? When you feel anger arising, and immediately you go inside, and with your awareness, the anger, because you take away the mind from the object, it dies down. And you're not creating more seeds. Whereas just leaving it there is like looking at that, noticing it, seeing how it grows, seeing how it has flowers, and then the flowers make seeds, and then they fall into the ground, and next time there's more, and more, and more, and more. So garden and mind is pretty much the same thing. So karma is definite, meaning positive action creates pleasant sensations, and negative action creates an unpleasant sensation. So this is the first one here. It's the same thing. If you plant seeds from a sweet fruit, and if it becomes a bush or a tree and it will give fruit, it will be a sweet fruit. If you have seeds from a bitter fruit and it falls into the earth, you might not want it, but or poisonous fruit, it will give you a poisonous fruit. And you can make prayers, you can make circumambulations, you can pray to the Buddha, please, please, I want mangoes. I don't want these horrible things there. That nothing will change. You need to plant the right seeds. But what you can also do, this is why we're not so caught up. We can do a lot of things with our mind, because we see all our anger and we go like, this is hopeless. Yeah? But the same thing as you can not really change something unpleasant into pleasant, but you can still manipulate by these thoughts. It would be like you have the base of a tree and you don't really want that plant, but you take a twig of another tree and you put it on, and then it makes some kind of mixture, which still then the future fruits are a little bit nicer than the one that is from the old tree. So this is the same thing. We can manipulate the mind. Because everything is empty of inherent existence, we can manipulate everything. Again, this is one part of emptiness. If it would exist from its own side, really truly, you could not manipulate it. So the law of cause and effect, don't think it's like, I do this, then I suffer. It can be manipulated by skillful means. What you have not created, you cannot experience. So then we can let go of hopes and fears. Hoping for something that you haven't created the cause, it will not happen. And if you have created the cause, you don't need to hope for it. It will come anyway. It's like, again, planting seeds of I don't know what, and then hoping for red flowers, but I don't know what I planted. The hope is not going to help me. But what happens when we have hope?
We prepare the conditions.
Huh?
We prepare the conditions to get it.
We also have fear. Now, I'm talking about this unreasonable hope, when we just go like, I hope for something that I haven't created the cause. I hope everybody will love me, but I go through the world being angry all the time. But I hope that people will accept me the way that I am. That's pretty unreasonable. Yeah. So like this. So whatever you have not created, you cannot experience. So hope and fears we can let go. Hopes create desire and attachment. And especially we want the result now. So it doesn't mean you should become hopeless. What we understand like hopeless. But hopes and fears is a big hindrance on the path, because whenever you sit down for your meditation, you hope for a pleasant half an hour, isn't it? And then when it doesn't come, what happens? Huh? Disappointment. And you think you're doing something wrong. Because you've been hoping for the wrong thing. If you start hoping for pain, then when pain comes, you go, good, and the mind relaxes. You see, all meditation instructors tell you that meditation without pain, especially at the beginning, is absolutely impossible. Still, we're looking for it. We don't trust these instructors who talk out of experience. Pain in your meditation is part of it. And it's great that it's there, because that's what, when you learn to accept it with a, you used the word equanimous mind. It's neither good nor bad. Right. And all of a sudden there's just pain, but no suffering. So pain and suffering is a huge difference. We put these two things together. We think every pain should not be there. You see, if there's no toothache coming from my filling that fell out, I will leave it. And then the tooth will get rotten and then it will fall out. If pain is coming, there's a sign, hey, you need to go to the dentist, my dear. Pain can show us a lot of things. Move, do yoga, do this, do that. The problem is I'm too lazy to do yoga. This is why I have all these body pains. So I had two options. Either I'd start to do yoga, or I start to work with the pains and accept them so that I'm not getting depressed. And I'm not moaning all the time and telling everybody what's happening with my body. You ask me, how are you? I say, I'm fine. Because what is it going to help me if you know what's going on with my body? And lo and behold, if I tell somebody that what's going on with my body, they come with like hundreds of advice what I should do, which I know from the beginning I'm not going to do it. So why should I tell somebody what's going on in my body? Why? What's the point? It just makes me feel miserable. If I say I'm fine, I start to believe I'm fine, and actually then I become fine. You know, it's this kind of thing, fake it till you make it. This is the manipulation that we're doing with our mind. Instead of moaning all the time, start to grow up by thinking, wow, I could be much worse. I can still walk. Maybe one day I will be in a wheelchair, like many other old people are in a wheelchair. So why not me? We all have this hope. When you go to the old people's home, and you see people sitting there in a wheelchair like that. What's your thought when you see them?
What happened to me?
Of course, maybe you're too young to have this thought. You see yourself sitting in that wheelchair. I don't want to become like that. You're too far away from that still. But when you start to get older and you start to see the signs, forgetting things, pain in the body, and not so flexible anymore, you go like, oh. And then I start to think, I look at them consciously, because the mind has a tendency to not wanting to look, isn't it? You don't want to know. Then I force myself to look at them and to think, yes, this could be me. Then you lose your fear. And this is almost magic. I don't know how it works. But if you go into the situation and you visualize and imagine this could be me, you lose your fear. There's a very nice book by Pema Chodron. Go to the places that scare you. So all these fears that we have, it doesn't prevent me from being in a wheelchair if I'm afraid now. What does it do? It spoils my life. So I look at them and go, ooh, this could be me. How can I prevent it? The mind goes, difficult? But maybe with the mind I can still work. With the body, that one will decay. But maybe I can start taking really good care of the mind. And I let others take care of me. So I learn to be dependent on others. Not when I'm already, I don't know how old and I can't change that anymore. I'm so independent, I don't need any help. Somebody wants to wash your plate now, let them. Say thank you. Then you become an easy patient to look after. So this is how we prepare for old age. Not being afraid of it, but saying, what can I do now? Yeah. And then I come back to the present and I go, but I can still walk. And then I appreciate. This is the mind manipulation that we do. This is the brainwash that one does in Buddhism. How to keep and have a happy mind. Because the happy and the unhappy mind is created by thoughts. Nothing else. By attitudes, opinions, views. Like that. Karma increases. This is the third feature of these 4 features, or characteristics you could call it. Meaning one small action can give a huge result, goes for positive and for negative. So do not neglect to do even, I think it says here even in the prayer, doesn't it? Finding firm and definite conviction in this, like the law of cause and effect. Please bless me always to be careful, to abandon even the slightest negativities and accomplish all virtuous deeds. So we have to learn to abandon even the smallest negativities, because if we neglect them, they still create seeds, and because karma increases, it could give a huge result. Again, we can take nature, because he said, how does that work? You see, these seeds are dynamic. They're not dead seeds waiting for the conditions to come and then ripen. We can manipulate them while they are on our mind stream. Yeah? They are in a way definite, but you can still, if you don't do it, they become definite if you don't do anything to them. But they can be made stronger or weaker by certain thoughts, practices, opinions, views. Yeah. So one flower comes out of one seed. It blooms, and then how many seeds has the flower? More than one. That's what it means. Out of one action can many results or a big result. And the longer it stays on your mind stream, the bigger the result will be. So when somebody harms you, this is now how you think. When somebody harms you, or as I said, you break a bone or something like that, you go, wow, if that would have stayed on the mind stream, it would have brought a big result. Now the seed is finished. If you put the seed in the earth, it has a result, it makes a plant. But that particular seed will never bring any result anymore, because it already has brought its result. So you can pull out the result while it's still small before it makes more seeds. You can pull out your angry mind by replacing it with patience before it starts to make more karmic seeds. How one creates karmic seeds is also in here, we come to that. Karma is never lost. It's not like ordinary garden seeds. If you leave them for a few hundred years, they probably lose their potential to become a plant. But you can manipulate it. So again, it's not as definite as it sounds. If you don't do anything to these karmic imprints, they will ripen at one point. Either it's happiness or it's unhappiness.
After they ripen, they're lost. After you get the result, they lost.
Yeah, exactly. But you can create many more seeds while the result is ripening. Like, for example, a ripening of attachment, like you consume something but it doesn't give you what you want, because at first it will give me lasting happiness, and you get it with that opinion or with that motivation, it should make me lastingly happy, which that's what we consume most of the things. And then very quickly you lose your interest, is the karma of attachment, that the pleasant feeling finished. But then you think, oh, maybe the object is wrong. I need to get another object and another object and another object. You create the habit.
So attachment is a karma?
Huh?
So also the attachment is karma?
Yeah, of course. So then it, you know, when you hear this, it sounds like there's no way out. But there is a way out. By what? Attachment arising and you're not reaching out. That's your awareness. We have a choice. And that choice also is karma. It's also a karmic result. So we create the choices with our awareness practice. You see, I have a choice to talk to you in Swiss German, in French, in Italian, in Spanish, in English. I have created these choices. I don't have a choice to talk to you in Hebrew because I did not create that choice. So we can create choices through awareness. And that has to be trained. Not intellectually, but hours of sitting and watching the mind and the breath. And again, and again, and again. And if you only do it when somebody is leading you, they will not big results. If you start to make it a habit to sit at home alone, daily, then you will feel how valuable this is. Then you will want to go into retreats. Yeah? You see, what you learn in a group is just a technique, that's it. But if you think, no, I need the group in order to be able to sit and meditate, at the beginning, yes, you learn the technique and maybe the discipline. But afterwards, you have to grow up and do that yourself. Put some time aside for your daily practice. And then you continue to practice as you go out. You train awareness in your daily life. So if you have really no time to sit, this is what people say, I don't have time. How many days do you usually don't have time to eat? How many days in a row?
0.
Huh?
0.
0.
No.
And you say that taking care of the hygiene of the mind, you know, how many days in a row do you have no time to shower when there is water and everything? 0. Brush your teeth, 0. So awareness meditation is the hygiene for the mind, which will continue at the time of death, or is the body finished. So, in order for an action to be complete, you need, here it says intention, and sometimes intention is like misleading a bit. Because if you have an angry mind, in the angry mind there's the intention to harm, without you noticing it like intellectually. And this is why people don't understand what it means. This afternoon we'll talk about how negative emotions manifest, what they are, okay? So it's not, you know, like I say, wow, you're such an idiot, that I need to have before, oh, I want to tell her that she's an idiot. That's what people think. It's not like that. It's the intention that comes with that mental factor. For example, the intention of the mental factor of compassion is to alleviate the suffering of either yourself or the other person. The intention is in the package of that mental state. In the package of love is, I want you to be happy. In the package of patience is, at all costs, I don't want to harm you, even though you harmed me. And in the package of anger is harming the other. And in the package of attachment is, I want for myself alone. The wrong thing. In the package of attachment is, that object, I'm not happy because I don't have that object. That comes, that wrong view in the package of attachment. Do you understand now? Intention. So it's the mental state actually. It might be a better explanation about the intention. So you need to have a mental state, which we always have, by the way. Yeah. Then you need to do an action. You need to have an object, and you need the completion of the action. You need to finish the action. So in terms of killing a mosquito, You are absolutely not concerned with that being as a being. Mosquito is not worthwhile living, even for vegans sometimes, which I don't understand that attitude, you know. I really don't understand that they make this distinction with like, oh no eggs, no milk, no this, no that, poor animals. Then there's a mosquito coming and they go, and then I go, oops. Well, yeah, it's a mosquito. I said, well, is that an animal also? So I really respect all the vegans. I think it's fantastic what you're doing. But one thing is leave other people alone and don't be so arrogant about your views and so kind of violent and you know. It's okay. You are able to abstain from eating and drinking these things, be happy about it. Other people are not able. You know, other people don't see the suffering of the animals. The same way as if you kill the mosquito, you don't see the suffering of that mosquito. So this is just what I wanted to say about this. It goes for all beings, the killing. Here. So let's say mosquito coming, not in India where there's malaria, in Switzerland. We have no malaria. And we have no Zika. They just sting you and it itches and it hurts a bit and they drink maybe one drop of your blood. Absolutely no danger that we'll get some contagious sickness or whatever. But there is aversion towards it because it will hurt me.
It's my blood.
Huh?
It's my blood.
It's my blood. Yeah, we don't go, oh, he's hungry, so let him feed me. Lamas Rinpoche in Bulgaria, where there's millions of mosquitoes, really millions, he takes off his shirt so that they have more space to feed on. Now, I'm not asking you to do that, because I can do this with 2-3 times and then that's it, finished. I say, okay, restaurant is closed now, and then I put mosquito repellent. Yeah, I don't kill them. I have neither more nor actually I have less mosquito bites since I stopped killing them. Why? Not because of my karma, but because I always have mosquito repellent with me.
They also
Yeah.
don't sting.
I attract mosquitoes. Like if you want to have a mosquito repellent with you all the time, just take me along, and I have no repellent. They all come to me. So I really attract them. So it's okay. So this is why I have mosquito repellent. But why you kill it is because of aversion, anger. You do the action, and it's totally exaggerated. Kind of, you use your intelligence to kill that being. Instead of using your intelligence to save lives, you use it to create a negative action. So you kind of you follow it around. You wait until it sits down. You're not just going blindly like this. You wait until it sits down, and then maybe sits down here, and then this is what I did in South Pacific. I wasn't a Buddhist there then yet, and you know, if you're in the South Pacific on a remote island, there is no mosquito repellent. It's like you can't. There's no shops. So I would try to kill them because there's many of them because it's humid and hot, and so I would wait until because they only sting you, so they're already there. So I would wait until they're full of blood because they can't take off quickly, and then I would go like, bam, and then I would be very happy. Then the action is complete. It's a complete negative action of killing. And sorry, I have to say, it's not funny because you have these imprints. And this will result in you having a short life. Now, sometimes we have to kill insects, especially if they're kind of in the house and they're taking over and all this. But then do it in a way that it's the least suffering for them, and at least make prayers for them to have good rebirth, and don't be happy about it at the end. You see, this is also part of this suffering cyclic existence, that we have to create negative karma sometimes in order to survive. And that is also result of previous negative karma, to be born in a situation where you have to fight in order to survive. And to be reborn in a place where there's a lot of violence is the residue ripening of karma of killing. Yeah. I'm not saying it's again, don't forget, it's not punishment, it's not reward. It's law of cause and effect. So even you're born in Switzerland and there's no reason to kill these mosquitoes, but you do, next time round you're going to be born in a place, or not next time round, not in, in a place where you constantly have to defend yourself. A hell realm. Syria. You know, what is happening in Aleppo and in Mosul at the moment, this is hell realm, where you can't trust anybody, where you have no guarantee that you will be still alive tonight. And on top of it, it's hungry ghosts, because they don't have water, they don't have electricity, they don't have food, they don't have medicine. It's all these negative karmas ripening that come from negative actions. So we could say, oh, then they deserve it. For us unrealized beings, I think sometimes it's good that we don't see what kind of karma they created in the past, because otherwise we would not even have compassion for the victims. So we're not using this kind of law of cause and effect to look on others, oh, they deserve it because they were negative. You know, there could be Nazis from the Holocaust, reborn in Syria and in Iraq and these places. How would you feel then if you would really know that they were these people who killed all the Jews and the homosexuals and the gypsies and also others, not just Jews, and the leftists and communists and whatever. Well, how would you feel?
Happy.
Yeah. When you see the aggressor and you think that the aggressor will be the victim, if that aggressor aggresses you,
should feel sorry.
Would you really feel sorry? Not so sure. We have to really look at these intentions and how we react. Let's say somebody, I don't go into very big things, steals your purse. The police, you start yelling, a thief. The police sees it, runs after the guy, and he's violent, and the police starts to beat him up like mad. Would you feel compassion?
Maybe.
Huh? Maybe, because it's just your purse. Okay, now I'm going to go into something very strong. If that man abuses your granddaughter sexually,
No way.
and then gets beaten up, would you still feel sorry?
Not a shred.
Exactly. You would say, wow, keep going. You might even go, you have so much anger, you might even go and hit yourself, which again makes you a victim. This is how it continues, aggressor, victim. The victim, the anger is still there. When the victim has power, boom, it aggresses and creates the cause to be the victim again. This is the law of cause and effect. Do you think we can stop it?
Yes.
Yes. How? When the
on
victim stops being angry. Because these imprints of anger, the same way as the imprints of multitasking, we take them with us to next lives. And it could well be that in the next life we have a lot of power and a lot of anger that is ripening, and there's a poor girl being there, and one takes revenge unconsciously. The karmic imprints push you to do that. So now I took a really big event, so we go back to smaller ones where we can work with it. So I'm not asking you if that happens, I am not asking you to have compassion for somebody who is raping young children. That's too high for us. It's far too high, so leave that alone for the moment. Yeah. But it's possible. The Tibetans who were in prison, they have zero anger for the Chinese soldiers. They see the act as not good, but they don't have anger. There is this friend of Al-Shani, I don't know if you were at the Eid, and they have a website. He's an artist, a Bedouin, his house got destroyed 3 times this year, for no reason, just like this. Once was in the Ramadan, when it was really hot, yeah? And he has no anger. Habit of not getting angry at difficult situations and accepting. Would anger prevent his house to be destroyed? But would anger make his family life really even more difficult? Of course. Lama Zopa Rinpoche, when he was teaching children, we have a school in Bulgaria for children who don't have money to pay for the school fees. So he was giving them a talk because, of course, all these poor kids, they want to become successful. They all have very high ambitions. They want to become doctors and lawyers, and because why? Not necessarily because they want to help, but because there's a lot of prestige and a lot of money in these professions. And they want to help their family, that yes, but only their family. So I said, look, developing a good heart is more important than developing all these skills. So do both. If you can only do one, then concentrate on the good heart. He says, because you see, with all your skills, you might get a good job, but if you have no ethical conduct, if you are very selfish and you take whatever you can, one thing is you might lose your job because they throw you out. If you have a lot of anger, they might throw you out because they can't keep you. And you will have a very unhappy family life if you have all these, if you don't have a good heart. Whereas if you develop a good heart, even if you don't have a good job, you will still have a happy life. It's so simple, and it's so true. We put so much emphasis on, our children have to be successful and they have to do this and this and that. Do we really know how to make them happy? Did you grow up with lessons on how to have a happy mind? Slowly, slowly, slowly it's coming. Especially in developed countries, because we know that we can't give them more than the money that we already have, and all the pleasures that we already have, and all the cars and telephones and technical knowledge and medical help, but we're still not happy. So slowly, slowly, slowly they're starting to look at another thing. Buddhism is talking about that since 2,500 years. Becoming your own therapist. What do you need in order to become your own therapist? Awareness, mindfulness. Not just intellectual knowledge, that's not enough. So I'm actually here to give you the intellectual knowledge. Then these courses that they offer in Dharma Friends, sometimes people mistake it for being Tovana. It is not. It's not just to make you sit and practice. This is to give you the tools, so then when you learn to be mindful, you can use them. This is the Tibetan system. They expect you to meditate on your own because they say it's not complicated. Why would you spend so much time on teaching it? Yeah, but you have to do it. So in the group is very good. In the group you learn the technique and you learn the discipline to keep sitting. Because if you decide at home and you're not trained to sit like half an hour, how many of you really succeed to sit for that half hour? Good. Yeah. Every time? No. Okay? Huh? Not every time. Whereas when you come here and you're in the group, out of respect for the group, you succeed every time. Even your mind is all over the place, and you think, the mind is all over the place, not working, let me stop it. Here you don't. You wait until the gong goes. So that's the discipline that you learn in the group. Okay. So then an action, when these four things are present, becomes complete. Like the mental state, which determines, this is why karma sometimes is called intention. The mental state, that's the main factor that determines whether the action is negative or positive. The intention. Love or attachment. Patience or anger. Yeah? You have to do the action, you need an object, and then the completion, like the mosquito is dead, and you rejoice. If the mosquito escapes, it still creates negative karma because the intention was there, the object was also there, but the action is not complete. So it does create some karmic imprint, but weak ones. When all four factors are present,